Alright, so this video was requested. Sorry, this is a nasty. Ugh, that just. This looks really bad. One sec. It still doesn't look great, but okay. As I was saying, this video was requested by one of my subscribers, so thank you. We're going with kind of a different look for the video, more of a top-down, hands-on at what I'm doing to the gun. So basically, sorry, that's really loud glass. The tools you'll need are a Dremel. You will want some sort of sanding heads. These are some, I just got these off Amazon. 36-piece abrasive stone wheel heads. Chinese piece of crap. And then I got what this is a wood burning pen. It's meant to burn designs and so that you can kind of do art and burn stuff into wood. However, soldering irons work, I've heard, but this is the only tool that I have experience using. And it's been great. I've used this for a lot of different projects, stippling related. And the last thing you'll want are various, and this came with my wood burning pen, but you'll want various tips to do different designs if you want to get into the more stylized look. But so with stippling, basically there are two ways, and just check, clear. There are two main ways to go about stippling and two main end goals, end users that are going for this look, that are going to want to embark on stippling their gun. Because it is a project. It's not the most expensive thing. It's definitely more expensive to send it off and have it professionally done. However, professionally done means it's going to look a little better. It's going to be more consistent of a design. But the two reasons to stipple your gun, or the two ways to go about it, are reason number one, so that you can supplement an already decent grip. And a good example of that is with my Springfield Armory Prodigy. Comes with a fantastic grip, and it's basically stippled. And I normally do like to have this smooth so that when I'm going to grab it out of the holster, it's a quick acquisition. I can find that grip and not be confused. But there are a couple points on this polymer frame that I wanted, or polymer grip, that I wanted to have more texture to enable me to control recoil better. And one of those points was right here along the trigger guard. Please focus. There we go. And so I just went in and did that myself. That is the only point on this gun that I went ahead and stippled myself. So let me get some more examples. Another good example of that is my Wilson Combat grip for the P365. I added this little shelf stipple for my support hand to better control and mitigate recoil. And so these are just super highly functional reasons and ways to go about stippling your gun. The Wilson Combat Grip module has an excellent texture on the front and back straps of the grip, and then I went ahead and did that same trigger guard stipple so that I can really kind of get comfortable and vise down with that left hand. And so that's a very functional way to go about stippling. However, there are other ways and other reasons to go about stippling. For example, I did a terrible job with this because I did not Dremel down this part or this part, so you can really see the lines there. So I would recommend, and even here too, I would recommend doing a better job of using the Dremel tool, throwing on that stone head, and really just going to work, kind of getting rid of all of the OEM grip lines, designs, and stipple marks if you're going to do an overhaul like I wanted to do with this Glock 19. Now I don't care about this gun enough to actually go back and redo everything, because this stipple pattern, you can see the really fine dots. This took me about 3 hours to do, which doesn't sound like a lot, but especially when you're not a gunsmith and this isn't your job, it's kind of a lot of time. So, and my last example of a stippling overhaul is with the P320 X5 Legion. Went ahead and did some dragon scaling on this tungsten infused grip. So that was a little harder to stipple because the material that it's made out of didn't want to patternize as aesthetically than just straight polymer. So it's got a little bit of grit to it, and it has its own look that it would have looked different had the frame, the grip, been a different material. However, I did add those practical points of stippling as well, because that is something that I just really need on a gun. And there's the dot. Hello. I'm going to show you how to go about stippling. It's very monotonous. Once you get the hang of it, it is very easy. And I definitely improved with each gun I stippled. All of these guns are towards the later half of my stippling career. I've stippled about maybe 10 guns. Yeah, that sounds about accurate. And so I'm going to be doing a little update on this one. I'm going to do a grip reduction with these Dremel heads because before I didn't have these, and the ones that I was using weren't very effective to reduce and get rid of the original stippling on the Glock 19. So I'm going to get rid of some of the material back here, and then I'm going to go through and re-stipple some of it with this guy. So let's go. Oh God, that is not good. I need to get an actual workbench. So let's go ahead, get to work. Pro tip, charge up your Dremel battery beforehand if you don't have a plug-in version, because sometimes the output of the motor or whatever is in it can fail on you. Oh, this isn't very aggressive, these heads. So these might not be great, but I mean, they're better than nothing. So you guys will find out if I recommend getting these tips from Amazon, or if I don't, because they don't feel that aggressive. I don't know how effective they'll be at removing material. So yeah, make sure you're working with a clear gun, obviously, and then get to work. I'm going to remove this hex screw because that could be problematic. Cool. So removing the mag well will ensure that you don't ruin texture on the mag well itself, because normally you don't end up stippling those, but to each is their own, you know. Okay, for this section I recommend wearing eye protection and maybe even ear protection if you're really that sensitive. But yeah, you don't want flecks going in your eye, and you want to make sure that you're on a space that you can easily clean up afterwards, because black residue gets everywhere. It gets on your fingers, gets on the surface you're working on, it just gets everywhere. Now sometimes if you run the Dremel too quick, if you put the operating speed on a high setting, you can run into the polymer actually starting to melt. And I actually don't care about that really, and because I just wanted to work through this as quickly as possible. My goal was to get rid of that hump that Glocks kind of have. I'll grab an example. So this is a 17 airsoft, but you can see that hump that comes down. I freaking hate that so much. So basically mission success. I just wanted to kind of straighten that out and make the grip a little bit easier to present. The flatter the presentation on the back grip, the more, I guess, 1911-esque it can be, which I'm a fan of. So that was my goal, to get rid of that hump. And now that it's smooth enough, I'll go over and stipple this section. So for the stippling portion, you'll want to make sure you're operating in a well-ventilated area, just because sometimes you can begin to start feeling a little funky with some of the fumes. So I'm going to change out the tips. Oh shit. If I had to estimate how much the tools cost, like wood burning pen was about 20 bucks, I think, 25 bucks on Amazon. And Dremel was somewhere between $50 and $80. So really not all that bad. So this is plugged in, it's heating up, and while we're waiting, I think I will reattach the mag well. So would I recommend the Amazon stone wheel heads for Dremels? Yeah, actually I would. Pretty cheap. Decent bang for your buck. And they're pretty effective. My problem with some of the sandpaper ones is that they lose texture surprisingly fast. And basically you kind of just run through them really quickly. So hopefully these will last me for years to come, because it came with a lot, and the stone texture should be a lot. The stone texture should be a lot more resilient. It's always nice not to strip your Allen screws. But we're back and we're ready. So, if you're not going for any stylized design, if you want just the dots, which is my personal favorite look, I just like to start with the outline, really make sure my lines are sharp, that wrap around, do all of the lines first, and then I'll go in and fill it out. It's pretty simple. So you want to make contact with the surface of the pistol for not that long, actually. Just a quick touch and go. If you want really aggressive texturing, then sure, go ahead, leave the pen on for longer, but when I stipple, I go very gently, kind of gliding. I just let the heat basically do the job. I apply very little pressure to the pistol. Sometimes I can overdo it, give it a more marred look, which is not one of quality. The longer you press the tool into the pistol, the larger of a design you're going to get, regardless of whether you're doing dots or if you're doing kind of the dragon scale look. That's kind of why I just like to touch and go when I'm stippling my guns. And this process takes a decent amount of time. For when you're stippling areas like under the trigger guard or on the side here, unless you want to alter the grip texture, like I kind of did a Dremel job up here to reduce material. Unless you're going for that, you really don't have to take a Dremel to those portions of the frame. And you can just heat up your wood burning tool and get to work, and you may not even have to buy a Dremel in the first place, so that's a bit of a cost savings way to go about it. Ultimately, the longer this process takes you, the better of a result you're going to get, and the likely happier you'll be with the end result. So take your time on this one. Take breaks, like come back to it if you have to. If you get sore, if you start getting dizzy because of the polymer fumes that you're breathing in. Sometimes the texture ends up being really rough and can cut into your skin when you're concealed carrying, and in that case what I recommend is just taking a piece of sandpaper, not super gritty sandpaper, but some lighter stuff, and just giving it a few rundowns over the stipple job just to kind of smooth out some edges, because sometimes things can get pretty sharp. Now, just how bad are the polymer fumes for you? I don't know. I'd hope not brain tumor level. I mean, at some point, I suppose you know, life's gonna catch up with you if you do this a lot. But if you want to err on the side of caution, sometimes I'll actually wear a full face gas mask that I got from near a safety because I don't actually have any respirators. But I'll just throw a filter on that and then go to work. What I find is that solution ends up giving me some neck strain after about a half hour of stippling, just because of the added weight that a gas mask is on your neck to support your head. So honestly, the best solution might be to throw on just one of those kind of half-faced respirators and toss in a filter. Cool. Okay, so we successfully did the grip reduction and re-stippled the back of it. Nothing too pretty, but it does the job. So thanks for watching, guys. Hope this helped. Let me know if you have any questions related to the subject, and we'll see you in the next one.